Hey there, welcome back to our Century Farmhouse. Today we're going to cook up some yummy food, we're going to do a little homemaking, gardening, and of course, we're going to talk a little bit about those changing seasons and what we can do when we find ourselves in the middle of them. Hey there and welcome back, friends. It's Lauren with Rustic Honey, and we are starting out the morning in our farmhouse kitchen, of course, as we do a lot of these videos. We have a lot of hungry mouths to feed around here, so you will often find me in the kitchen. And this morning I am trying to get ahead of those hungry mouths by putting a few sausage biscuits in the freezer. This morning, it's just my husband and I here at home while the kids are at school. We're here with the baby this morning, of course. And I have a few of those freezer biscuits I'll link below that are my favorite. I'm going to throw those into the oven for something quick and simple. And then I'm just going to fry up some sausage patties. We'll eat some for breakfast this morning, and then I plan on putting the rest in the freezer. It is a cool, crisp morning here, and it has us feeling all of the fall energy. We've kind of been going back and forth with the weather. It's hard to decide in the morning what to wear. Do I wear jeans or do I go ahead and do shorts and a tank top because I'll be sweaty by the end of the day? We're finding ourselves again in that lovely limbo between seasons, the in-between season that is so unglamorous, is it not? I know by the time you're watching this, it's becoming late September, so maybe officially closer to fall. But I feel like in general, we try to skip over the in-between seasons of the late summer, and we try to skip straight to the fall because it's exciting. We want to find ourselves with our feet planted in the season, in fall. Fall is my favorite season, so I'm always trying to find myself planted there. But I think it's so important to remember that there's beauty in those in-between seasons too, and those transitions in between, even though it feels like a tug of war sometimes between summer and fall. And this can be true for more than just the seasons of the weather, but maybe the season of life that you're in too. And we've talked about this a little bit in a previous video, so I'll try to link that here for you, but we had talked about this a little bit when we brought home a newborn baby, because that is such an in-between season of just trying to figure out all the new things. We're a new, a family of 6 now. How do we get everything to come together? We get a good routine going, and it feels like an in-between season. And I heard from a lot of you in the comments that really resonated. Whether you were moving or starting a new job, whatever you had going on in your life, sometimes that in-between season can be so messy, but yet such an important piece. I want to continue talking about this a little bit in terms of our homemaking and how we're bringing the seasons into our home. So we're going to get into that here in a little bit later in the video too. But first, I'm going to enjoy my breakfast, and I'm going to go ahead and split all of these biscuits up so that they can cool along with the sausages and be ready to put in the freezer. I usually just get them completely cool while I eat breakfast, and then I might even put them in the fridge for a little while, stick them in a Ziploc bag, and they don't last us very long in our freezer, but it's a nice welcome treat for the kids in the morning. With the days getting cooler and wanting to make home as cozy as possible, we have recently been able to upgrade our mattress thanks to today's video sponsor, Birch Living. Birch makes mattresses that are crafted with responsibly sourced materials such as organic cotton, organic wool, and 100% natural latex. Their mattresses are free from polyurethane foams, which can cause harmful off-gassing, and are constructed without fiberglass like other conventional mattresses. It was important for me to choose a Birch mattress with those organic natural materials so that I can avoid the off-gassing that occurs with conventional mattresses from the polyurethane foam. I ordered the Birch Natural Luxe mattress, which is the premium upgrade to the well-loved natural Birch mattress. I've had my Birch mattress for a little bit over a month now, and I love the comfort of it and the sleep quality that I'm getting. Around here, sleep quality over quantity is the name of the game with a newborn in the house. I will say I was slightly skeptical when we first got our mattress because it was a little bit more firm than our mattress we had previously. But I will say I have come to love the comfort of it, and I'm sleeping so well on it. So if you're often skeptical like I am about, of course, a new mattress, which is an investment, I love that Birch Living offers a 100-night sleep trial for you to try it out. And for their products, they also offer a 25-year warranty, which I feel like is completely unheard of these days. One of the best parts is also that Birch ships straight to your door for free in the United States. They also offer in-home setup and removal for you. I will say this was very convenient. It came right to our door. It was easy to set up. And it was so much easier than making a big plan to drive somewhere and pick out a mattress and then haul it home. I loved the convenience of this. I love my Birch mattress, and I think you will too. Right now they are offering an extended Labor Day sale for our viewers with 25% off your mattress and 2 free EcoRest pillows. My link is going to be birchliving.com/rustichoney, and it will be in the description box below for you. A big thank you again to Birch Living for sponsoring today's video. Now, when we have these cool mornings, it does feel almost like a fake fall. And then you remember to go out to the garden and realize that late summer is still very much hanging around with our produce that we have coming in. So you may have seen in the last video I had shared all of our garden veggies that came out recently. I had to get them out on the counter and into the freezer. And for some reason at this point in the year, we feel a lot more, or at least I do, feel a lot more of a burden by the garden than a blessing. I was much less excited to work up the tomatoes and the peppers to make anything necessarily. So I thought, I don't want it to go to waste. So I will still just wash and chop it so that I can be, a good steward of these blessings, and I'll enjoy them later on. But right now it doesn't feel so exciting. And maybe that is the thing about the changing seasons. It's no longer new and exciting, so we're ready for the next thing. But yet, like, the timing of it, it's all on purpose. It's all by design. And I think that it's really important for us to slow down and enjoy the moment that we're in, even if it's not exactly like the middle of the season that we want to be in. And if you're anything like me, especially if you feel like it's taking too long. I don't like to think that I'm a super impatient person, but yet I constantly am questioning why it took me so long, or why is this taking so long, or why isn't this done yet? Or I don't know if you've ever seen the reel, can we skip to the good part? Because sometimes life feels that way. We get stuck in a rut or a season that we don't want to be in, or we're in between seasons and we don't want to be there. And can we skip to the good part? That's something that crosses my mind a lot. All right, all of our garden veggies are tucked away for another season in the freezer, so I feel good having that done. Now I'm gonna move on to making a potato salad with you today. We recently had a family reunion, and of course I needed to make a side dish for the potluck. My husband made a bunch of pulled pork, and I thought, what better side dish than a potato salad? But this isn't just your traditional potato salad. A family member had made this a few years back, and I absolutely loved it. I had to get the recipe, and then guess what? I lost the recipe. So I tried to Google around and find a very similar potato salad. This one has bacon and avocados in it, so stick with me. It's going to be really good. This recipe still has a mayo base, so I'm going to start with some homemade mayo here. And if you've seen me do this before, I always tell you that it's important not to break the yolk. Well, guess what I did? I broke the yolk, but it's a good thing at the time I'm making this, it's actually breakfast time. So I'm making a little extra bacon to throw that egg that I broke in. So it will not go to waste around here. If you can tell, it is a Saturday morning here in this video. My kitchen is a wreck and there are kids everywhere. So I feel like I am just forgetting all the things, like the vinegar in the bottom of this mayo as well. So it has Dijon mustard in it, salt. I put a little bit of lemon juice and the vinegar, and then avocado oil because that's a nice neutral oil, and then hit it with the immersion blender for about 15 seconds on the bottom, 10 to 15 seconds, and then start to incorporate it all together, and it makes the perfect mayo. We absolutely love homemade mayo. Meanwhile, over in the skillet, I have that bacon going. I don't know if you saw how I was cutting that, but that is the easiest way to get crumbled bacon. Just cut it crosswise and then stick the rest in the fridge for another breakfast on a different morning. I also have had my potatoes over here boiling, so they're ready to go. I'm going to strain those off, get my eggs iced down so that I can easily peel those, And then we need to get to chopping all of the remaining ingredients for this potato salad. Now, I'm kind of on a time crunch this morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick these potatoes in the refrigerator while I work on the dressing. So this dressing starts with that mayo, and then I put a little Greek yogurt in it. There's Dijon mustard, apple cider vinegar, and a few seasonings here. I will be sure to link to the recipe. This is not one of my recipes, but one, again, that I found online that was very similar to the one I remembered our Uncle Roger making. Thank you, Uncle Roger, if you ever watch this video. I love your potato salad. It's slightly better than the one I'm making here. I think it's because yours is probably made with more love. Why is that other people in our families always make something, even if it's the same recipe, it's always better when someone else makes it? I don't know if it's because they have to do all the chopping and stuff, but it's always better. But anyway, I'm gonna toss this together with the dressing, and then I'm gonna throw in all the good stuff on top here. So we've got green onions that I'm gonna dice up here, and then you also want to chop up a little bit of celery. Now, this recipe called for 3 stalks of celery, and personally I feel like it was a little bit much. It was a nice little added crunch, but I'm not a huge celery or like a raw celery person, so maybe I would just only go with 2 in the future. Here's what I would put in my note for the recipe binder. Use less celery, add more bacon, because isn't that a good rule of thumb? Let's take out the vegetables and put in more bacon. We're gonna chop up this red onion. I'm gonna put half of it here in my salad, and the other half I'm gonna show you what I use it for in a dinner later this week. It's my new favorite thing. So stick with me for that recipe coming up next. But we're just gonna dice this up really fine, adds a nice color to the salad, and of course more flavor and crunch. So we're gonna top that off, and then we're gonna keep chopping our lives away. You can see in the background all of my groceries are still sitting out on the cabinet. I'm telling you, it was hot mess express on this morning. I don't know why I choose these recipes and I think I can do them like the morning of. I really should have prepped this potato salad the day before and then put the avocado in at the last minute. But you know, I like a challenge, I guess, and I'm just always finding myself working against the clock. But maybe that's just what life is with 4 kids. I don't know. All I know is I will be making those notes on this recipe for the future so that I will not make that mistake of trying to throw it all together again at the last minute. But it is a beautiful salad. I love all the colors. My kids were just oohing and awing over that bacon and the green onions in the pan over there, so I had to keep their hands off of it until the dinner that afternoon. All right, back to this nook. If you've been hanging out with me for any amount of time, you probably have heard me say, I'm gonna do something over here in this nook in the kitchen, I think since February at this point. I finally took down the last of those barnwood boards that we had hanging there that I had been displaying the kids' artwork on, and our wall is all sorts of scuffed up. But we're gonna get back to this. I'm gonna show you what I did with it. It's finally looking different over there. But first, I want to show you the most yummy pizza that we recently made for dinner with our leftover pulled pork. So we had the leftover pulled pork from this family reunion. I should also mention that this family reunion was also my husband's grandma's 101st birthday. So happy birthday, Grandma Marge, great Grandma Marge. We call her Gigi Ma. She is an incredible lady and she deserves a video all her own. Just wanted to give her a shout out here while we're making pizza. But all that to say that this leftover food was from our celebrations over the weekend, and we like to have leftover pork all the time. We like to stick it in the freezer. I have lots of different recipes that I like to use pulled pork in because it's just a quick and easy dinner at times. This is going to be one of my new favorite go-tos with leftover pulled pork though. So I used my quick pizza dough crust and put it out on our pans. I preheated my oven to about 450. Topped the sauce I used was just barbecue sauce instead of like your typical marinara. And then I put on some mozzarella, and this right here is my favorite new topping for pizza. I did a really quick pickled onion here. I just sliced up that red onion really thin, threw it in a jar with about a 1/4 cup of sugar and maybe about a cup and a half of white vinegar. And I tried to just shake it up, let it dissolve, and I honestly only did that a couple hours before I made this pizza, so I wasn't sure if those flavors would come through, but they did, and it was so good. So I actually have a few of these left in the jar, and I plan on topping some tacos later in the week with those onions as well. Now, I am putting pickles on top of this pizza as well. So these are the pickles I would like to have. They're from Aldi. They have a really good crunch, but I didn't have any earlier in the week when I made this, so I used our homemade pickles from the garden. They were actually quite delicious too, but I would recommend a dill pickle. Now, this recipe is very much inspired by Casey's Pizza, not sponsored whatsoever, but we are here in the Midwest, Casey's Pizza fans. If we order out pizza, it's most likely Casey's because it's the closest thing to us. If you're not familiar, Casey's is a gas station chain that offers pizza. And this summer they had a pulled pork pickle pizza. I will say mine was pretty darn good though, homemade. And I even threw on some cowboy candied jalapeños too. So that little combination right there was probably one of my new favorites. I hope you'll give it a try. Sorry, not trying to toot my own horn there, but the kids really liked it too, and our family pretty much devoured it all. All right, back to this nook. I'm going to show you what I finally did. This little area in our house is definitely in an in-between season like we were talking about. I have finally decided that we are going to either tear down this wall or we're going to build cabinets onto it. I can't decide whether or not to move our back door and change the flow of our mudroom, but either way, what I am doing today I know will be temporary. So that's why you see a board here with some screws in it. I had my husband hang it here because we need more hanging space for the coats and the backpacks this winter. And I know how the seasons go around here. If we're going to, tear down a wall or we're going to build cabinets, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Realistically, that's not how things work around here. It may work that way on HGTV, but that's not real life. And that's not what you're going to see here on my channel. So I just wanted to update it to where at least it looks nice until we can finalize those decisions and make a bigger renovation mess. So even though I have really big, beautiful plans for what it's going to look like next, I thought I need to at least be able to enjoy it in this season. It needs to be more presentable. So I've had these little frames that my aunt gave me when Ruth was born. And to tell you the truth, they've been basically in a box all summer long. I've been trying to decide where to put them, and I felt like this is going to be the perfect spot, at least in this current season, that is. And don't mind me about to chop off my head with the ceiling fan here, and if my husband's watching, Dan, will you please just look away? You don't need to know how many extra holes I put in the wall. But again, we're covering them, so it's okay. So I guess my overall point here in the nook is, though, even though I know that it's not going to stay this way, I still need to enjoy it today. Give it a little bit of love. Tackle those little projects. I'm gonna actually order the pictures. You're gonna hold me to it. We're gonna get pictures in those frames. But the point is, the frames are on the wall, and it looks a lot better like that than it did on the floor. There's paint, there's a place for my kids to hang their backpacks, and that is the beauty of this season. It's not perfect. It's not how it's gonna be forever, but it's how it is today, and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.